Hello, we are still continuing with our series of introduction to Excel. So this session we're going to do navigating an Excel. So what you can see on my screen, it's a data. It's a random data. So it's a random data of sales. So there are different products that you can see here. Column B, the quantities that was sold, the price per quantity, and the total sales. Okay. This is just a random data that we use to navigate through and see how we can use the Excel tool to move through the data. So assuming this is your data, so how do you move around when you want to interact and understand the data? So that's what brings us to navigating Excel. So remember, we're keeping it very simple so that anyone can understand. So what's the first thing that we are going to learn about navigating through our data? So we're going to use the arrows. Okay, just give me a moment. I use the anti-note. Okay, yeah, so you can see my mouse moving around. So what are we going to do? Assuming now the data is large. Okay, so we've got a lot of things up to this last line, and you're on the first line. So how do you navigate through? So assuming we're here, okay, so I'm clicking on this cell. So if I want to move to the next line, what do? I use the arrows on the keyboard. So if you check your keyboard has got arrows: up arrow, right arrow, down arrow, and the left arrow. So those ones you can use to move from one cell to another. So for example, I want to move from product to laptop. I'll press the down arrow once. If I want to move from laptop to smartphone, I'll move the down arrow once. Okay. Assuming I want to know, okay, for smartphone, how much did we sell? Okay, so I'll move one step to the right, still using the arrows, another one step to the right, then finally it's going to give me the amount that we sold for smartphone. So the down arrows are basically to navigate. If you want to move up, you use the up arrow. If you want to move down, use the downward arrow. If you want to move to the left, you use the left arrow, and the right arrow. Okay, so that's tool number one for moving. So assuming the data it's big and using the arrows can be a bit slow. So assuming you want to move to the last item on this table, okay, you want to look at, okay, the list is long, so you want to look at to go to the last product. So using the downward arrow at times can be inconvenient. So if you want to move to the last item on this column, you use Control and down arrow. Okay, so you press Control together with the down arrow. The inverse is true. If you want to go back to the first cell where you were, okay, use Control and up arrow. It will take you back. So rather than scrolling, you just use Control and downward arrow. Okay. Then if you want to move if you want to select one cell in the direction of the arrow, okay, You use control right arrow. It will take you to, assuming that we had so many columns. Okay, so column F, G, to the end. You just use, assuming you're here and you want to move to the last column on this line. Okay, just use control left arrow, control right arrow, control left arrow. It will take you to the farthest left. Okay, so control helps you to skip. It counts. It recognizes the cells that have got data, and it takes you to the last cell that has got data, depending on the direction that you want to go. Okay. I hope that is clear. So the next thing, if you want to select items, okay? So assuming you want to select, you want to even know the count of the items that you are selling. So what do? You use control. Remember when we wanted to go to skip to the last item, we were using control down arrow to get to the last item in that column. So if we want to now highlight everything in this arrow, what do? We use control plus shift plus down arrow, and that selects everything. Okay, control shift plus down arrow. Okay, so in the first bit, let me just put for you in summary what we have used. So in summary, this is the summary of what we've done. Okay, so using the right arrow. So what was the first item that we have learned? The first item is using the left, right, up and down arrow to move one cell to whichever direction that you choose. Okay, so the other thing that we've also learned is control and arrow key. So control and arrow key, it will take you to the farthest end of the data, of the edge of the data. So in whichever direction, if it's control left, control right, it will take you to the last the last cell in regards to that data. Then the other thing that we've also learned is shift and arrow key. That will, if you want to select, okay? So selecting one cell in the direction that in the direction of the arrow, okay? So shift and arrow key, yes. If you also want to select items, one cell to the direction. So if you want to select, say you want to select monitor, you want to check the quantity and the price. So you shift and right arrow, then it will select the quantity and the price. Okay. So the other last thing that we've also learned here is control shift plus arrow when you want to highlight now everything. Okay, and remember that control shift arrow only takes place where there is no any blank cell in between. So assuming that on this cell it's blank and we want to use control shift down arrow, you see it's only ending here because there's a blank space here. So if your data is characterized by blank, sorry, if your data is characterized by blank cells, it won't be appropriate. So it must have data for you to be able to select everything. So in this scenario, if I return the cell, so control shift down to be able to highlight everything. Okay. Okay, so that's the first bit of using the arrow. So then the other one is navigating within a worksheet. So this is the worksheet, okay? That is named navigating Excel. So within this worksheet, how do you navigate? Remember, we just use the first tool in this scenario, which are the arrows up, right, left, and right, okay? But of course, in combination with other keys such as Control and Shift. So what of other keys that you can use? Because remember, you could be having some lots of data and you want to navigate through, okay? So the other thing that we are going to use is using tab, okay? So tab key, you can use it to also move one cell to the right, okay? So it's more or less acts as the right arrow, okay? So if you're in this cell, you want to move to the one arrow to the one cell to the right, you use tab, okay? If you want to move to the left arrow, to the left cell, sorry, you use Shift and tab, okay? So if you want to move to the right, tab. If you want to move to the left, Shift and tab, okay? Okay. Then now, if you want to move one cell down, use Enter or Return, okay? Enter or Return, okay? So if you want to go back up, one cell up, again, use Shift, Enter, it will take you up, okay? So apart from using the arrows, assuming now that your keyboard arrows are not working, what other alternatives do you have? So if you want to move to the right, remember use Tab, okay? If you want to go back to the left, use Shift and Tab. Just check here, okay? Tab to the right, then Shift Tab to the left. If you want to move down, Enter, okay? If you want to go back up, Shift, Enter, then it will take you back, okay? Okay. So assuming you want to go back to, you're down here and you want to go back to the top of the sheet, okay? If you want to go back to the top of the sheet on the beginning of the row, so what do? You press Home. Sorry. You press the Home button. Sorry, press the wrong button. So if you press the Home button, it's going to take you here, okay? So that's also a functionality that you can also use. So Home, it will take you here. Then if you press the End button, it will take you to the last cell here, okay? Okay, that's also another functionality. Then Control plus End, move to the last used cell in the worksheet, okay? Oops, sorry. Okay, so that's also a functionality, and also page up, page down to move up or down one screen, okay? Yeah, so those are also other additional capabilities that you can use with, for example, other keyboard other keyboard buttons are not working. So in summary, remember, we are still navigating, okay? So navigating within our worksheet. So what have we said? We first move to the one cell to the right. We agreed that we use the tab cell, the tab key to move one cell to the right, okay? And if you want to go back to the left, we've agreed that we use Shift and Tab, okay? Remember, Shift is when you want to use the functionalities that appear on the upper that are written on, that are drawn on the upper buttons. So on the upper functionalities of the keyboard keys. Okay. If you want to use the lower ones, you just press the button. But if you want to use the capabilities, because remember that your keyboard, some buttons have got multiple uses or functions. Okay. So for example, your plus, if you look at your plus and equals, the same button. So if you want to use equals, you press the button once. But if you want to use the plus functionality, you shift and press the same button. It's going to give you a plus. So depending on what you want to do, you use the shift. Okay. So the other thing that we've said, so that we've talked about moving left and moving right. So if we want to move vertically, so if you want to move down, you use the enter key. If you want to move up, you use shift and enter. Okay. Yeah. So we've also talked about control, home to move at the beginning of the row. Okay. And home, the opposite of home is end. So if you want to move to the last cell in the row, use end button. Okay. So what else are we able to learn on navigating Excel? So there's something called the name box. Okay. So name box appears up here. Okay. So you can use it to go to a specific cell. Say, for example, you want to go to cell P10. Okay. So assuming you want to go to cell P10, sorry. So you just come. Just a moment. Okay. So if you want to go to cell P10, just right here, P10, press enter, and it will take you to that specific cell. Okay. So instead, if you're not good at at finding it, a cell, you just come here. If you want to, probably you're making a reference, you want to go to F60. For example, been told to please go to cell F60, just come type it here, and it will take you to F60, and you're able to see that it has the date of the speaker when we made $560. Okay. Okay. So there's also another feature called go to function. So go to function also helps you to navigate easily. Okay. So what does go to function means? So assuming here we have a summary. Okay. So we just copy that. I've used Control C, copy. Then I come paste it here. Okay. Then assuming now these are the totals for assuming these are the totals. Okay. So if I make reference, so the total quantities that were sold, it was price per okay, so price per unit. So I come and make reference there. Then on the total sales, I also come and make reference here. But assuming I also have here the total quantity. Okay. So the total quantity, I also link it up here. I link it to this. So you'll notice that here we have a summary, but it is linked. If you click on it, it is linked. So if you want to go to where this number is linked to, you use F5. Okay. So if you click F5, function F5. So at times if you click F5, your functionality probably it's not activated. So if it's not activated, you click FN, then F5 to activate that functionality bit. So if you click it once and click enter, sorry, what did I do? Mhm. Okay, so go to, so it's linking me up to where the where the cell is. Okay, so these are the references that have been made. Okay, but remember now here it's telling me it's linked to D60. Okay, so K19 it's been linked to D60. Okay, okay, so F5. So here F5. Then remember here it's linked to D67. So the reference here will come, type D67. Then if we click OK, it's going to take us to where it's being referenced to. So if, for example, you want to check the sales, it's E67. Okay. So F5, remember the reference is E67. You just check right here. So it's E67. Click OK, and it's going to take you there. Okay. So that also helps to navigate through. Okay, so the other thing that, assuming you forget everything that you've learned and you want to navigate through, you want to move to the last cell, there are these navigation bars here. So for example, this one, okay? So what you do, you left click, okay? Hold, then you move it up and down. So that can also help you to navigate through, okay? That's also another thing. So what are the top tips for efficient navigation? Remember, we've learned quite a lot of things, quite a number of things, just navigating through here if you want to find your way through the beginning of the cells and every other thing. So what are the top tips to make your life using Excel easier? So if you check my my screen, uh, let me just put the note so that you're able to see. Yeah. So if you check, I have a quick access toolbar that I've customized. Okay. So where is the quick access toolbar? It's right here. So basically what I put here is what I frequently use, so that it becomes easier. If, for example, I want to attach this on email, I'll just click on this and it take me on email. If I want to format paint, I'll just come up here on whichever Excel that I open. If I want to, for example, freeze paints or freeze top row, the same thing, filter and every other thing. So that everything is almost in one place. Okay, what you frequently use. Then there are also Excel or keyboard shortcuts. Okay, which we'll continue doing slowly by slowly as we familiarize ourselves with it. Okay. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this session. Hope you've enjoyed it and you've learned a few things just navigating through Excel. I hope to see you in the next class.